I'm as daft as a bush. This is the Subaru Outback, the most practical car for people who don't need a van or a pickup truck. What's so great about it? Watch this to find out. The Subaru Outback is a raised all-wheel drive station wagon derived from the Legacy. The Outback has been in production since 1994 and this is its 6th generation, 7th in case of the Legacy Outback, because the car is still called that in some markets. The 6th generation Outback debuted in Europe in spring 2021. The car is on the new Subaru Global Platform and has been designed with greater safety in mind, as evidenced by the Euro NCAP crash test results. On top of that, there is a new generation of the EyeSight driver assistance package and a new driver facial recognition system. Under the hood, the 2.5-liter Boxer, as Subaru assures, is 90% renewed. Of course, permanent all-wheel drive and ability to tow trailers up to 2 tons. I appreciate the 21cm ground clearance as standard, because in the wilderness trim, which is sadly unavailable in Europe, the ground clearance is 24 centimeters. If you look under the car, you will see, well, not much actually, because of the flat underbody protection, which hopefully will let you glide over some of the obstacles rather than get stuck on them. Which brings us to my diagonal approach test. I drive up this small incline diagonally and stop halfway so that the 2 wheels on opposite corners have limited traction. I then try to get moving again. The first approach is in normal mode, the second in snow mode, then deep snow, and finally normal but without ESP. Except for the first approach in normal mode, where the car rolled back a couple of inches, which may have been due to driver error, all attempts look almost identical, and that's what I was feeling from behind the wheel. I recall that the Subaru Forester barely managed to get up this very hill, and that was only in deep snow mode. Perhaps the mild hybrid system there is programmed for low emissions and the electronics limit the torque in certain situations. In any case, the Outback coped just fine. A quick housekeeping note. I'm here to make car reviews for you and not to chase the YouTube algorithm. I appreciate you liking, subscribing and putting on the notifications and things, but that doesn't always do the trick. This is why I have a newsletter, which I encourage you to subscribe to. That way you'll get notifications about new videos straight to your inbox. No spam, just new videos. Link in the description. The Outback is a thoroughly practical car. As befits a large station wagon, the boot capacity is an impressive 561 liters to the window line, with the rear seats up. When the backrests are folded, the capacity rises to 1822 liters, except for the top trim version, where the sunroof takes up some space under the roof. Yes, Subaru even accounts for the sunroof in its measurements. The boot volume does not account the storage compartments under the floor. In some brands, Volkswagen, the spare wheel well would be counted. Here, there's only a repair kit, but if you remove the styrofoam insert from under the floor, a full-size spare will fit easy. The boot cover fits under the floor, so if you want to use the entire cargo space, you don't have to wonder where to stow it. The width of the cargo space between the wheel arches is 110 centimeters and the length is more than 186 centimeters, so 2 people can lie down to sleep. You don't need a roof tent, for example. And speaking of a roof tent, the standard roof rails can withstand static load up to 185 kilograms and a dynamic load of up to 67.5 kilograms. But the Cross version has reinforced rails that can withstand 318 and 100 kilograms respectively. That's enough for a roof tent. And now I will admit something to you. These are movable rails. Normally they're mounted parallel to the body of the car so they don't swish while driving. These ones are very quiet, by the way. But when you need to put something on the roof, you take them across like this. Now, having done something like this in the Dacia Sandero, I armed myself with a ladder and some tools, and I began to unscrew the bolt, and it went quite well with this one. But I was unable to remove any other screws. None of the bits would fit. So I thought about my esteemed colleagues testing the car before me who must have destroyed the screws. Obviously, it's not my fault. And it wasn't until I spoke to Subaru that I realized that these rails are actually on clips. I'm as daft as a bush. Let's take a look at the rear seat, where the legroom and headroom are plentiful. The side seats are heated, there are USB ports in the middle, air vents, door pockets are okay, there's an armrest with cup holders. The ski hatch is missing, but you can adjust the backrest angle. Up front we have classic analog dials and a small display between them. There are buttons on the steering wheel and buttons over your left knee, but in the middle is a new large infotainment system display. Fear not, Subaru has left basic physical controls for volume tuning and temperature and such, but the rest of the settings are on the display. At first glance, it even looks interesting as the display is vertical and there are large icons on it. I imagined a 360 camera like in a Volvo, or Android Auto like in the Megane E-Tech. Unfortunately, that's not the case. At the top half is the map, for example Android Auto, and at the bottom are shortcuts to some settings. Same with the camera view. I don't know if I need access to all the settings when I'm maneuvering, but Subaru thinks I do. For me, it's just bad use of the huge display. On the plus side, Google navigation directions are also displayed between the dials. For such a large car, Subaru didn't leave a lot of place for the driver to put away their bits and bobs. So for example, even if I put the phone down here, I will need to plug it in to use Android Auto, and that will obstruct the gear lever. So I put the phone over there, over the glove box, which, by the way, the glove box is also quite small for this big a car. And the door pockets could be larger. They're okay, but could be bigger. The cup holders, on the other hand, are clearly for American large soda. Supersize me. The storage compartment under the armrest is a two-piece job, and this is like pretty good. And then there is another flat shelf here for your like documents, keys and stuff. So this is good. Position behind the wheel, I'm 175 centimeters tall and I had to extend my seat, not all the way but halfway. I rarely do this, so I would describe the seat in the Outback as short. But Anna, 160 centimeters tall, had to push it back in. Anna praises the wide range of seat and steering wheel adjustments. In addition to the two-button-based seat memory settings, Subaru has also a camera-based system that recognizes drivers' saved faces and adjusts the seats for them. It works better than in the Mazda CX-60. First, it recognizes faces better, and second, it doesn't suggest the wrong seating position. In addition to the seat settings, the camera also keeps an eye on where the driver is looking. If you take your eyes off the road for long enough, the system puts you back in your place. See? And that's okay. Less okay are the lane keeping assist and the adaptive cruise control. On the motorway it's okay, but on regular roads the system behaves strangely. For example, I got the impression that when the system recognizes a car in front and starts following it, it stops observing the lines on the road and it may take a turn tighter than it should. Maybe it's a matter of calibration for wider American roads, because let's not kid ourselves, Subaru's main market is North America. speaking of cornering, you can feel this is not an ordinary station wagon, but a car with higher center of gravity. Theoretically, the steering is quick, but it wasn't until I switched into sport mode that I was able to feel some kind of stabilization in the corner. But that's not what the Outback is for. Above all, the Outback is great for long drives. It's quick enough, it's quiet enough, and it's reasonably economical for a 2.5-liter petrol engine. The WLTP combined figure is 8.5 liters per 100 kilometers. For a large, by European standards, all-wheel drive car, this is, I think, acceptable. Secondly, the Outback comes into its own when it leaves the paved road. Covering a few dozen kilometers on gravel roads is no problem for Subaru. This is what it's been made for. To better paint a picture of the unique advantages of the Outback, I will use my colleague as an example. He produces motorsport videos, and for him, there is no replacement for the Outback. It's big enough to pack all his video gear, comfortable enough to cover long distances quickly, and capable enough off-road to get close to the rally action. The Outback may not be fast, but it's marginally faster than the 10.2 second 0 to 100 km per hour promised by the manufacturer. What more could one want? Well, I for one would like the wilderness trim here, but I'm aware of the European emission standards, etc., so I can forget about a powerful engine or factory add-ons that screw up the fuel economy. Sigh. And then there's the price. The Outback starts at €42,640, and this loaded platinum trim goes up to €47,640, plus CO2 emissions close to 200 grams per kilometer that may get expensive in some parts of Europe. But then what choice do you have? The Skoda Superb Combi Scout starts at €52,210, that's if you can order one, and don't even think about taking it places where the Outback can go. The Volkswagen Passat All-Track starts at over €54,000, and the Volvo V90 Cross Country is in a totally different price league. And it has the smallest boot as well. If I lived closer to the wilderness, I would totally get an Outback. And how do you like the Subaru Outback? Let me know in the comment section below. If you like my sarcastic, down-to-earth and possibly mildly amusing car reviews, join me every Friday at 3 p.m. Central European Time, and don't forget to subscribe and like this video as it helps me with the YouTube algorithm. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.